Um, so here we go. Next up, Melissa Quinakia, I guess. Um, Here we go. So they say you've coached at least a few people on your free First Thursday calls recently about this particular topic, how to bridge what is seemingly two different businesses into one. And you take them through a Venn diagram to see where the beliefs, the values, the point of view are the same and where there are differences. So Melissa says they are in a similar boat and looking for examples of businesses that are doing it and how they organize their website, social media, and newsletter. So their messaging is clear and concise without confusing their audience. Um, Now, I reached out to Melissa for a bit more information. They were very kind enough to offer me this, and they say that they teach free-form dance classes, including adaptive dance for folks with Parkinson's and dementia, and they live on a homestead, hosting nature-based camps for kids and youth and workshops for adults. And a point of view piece here is the common thread is returning home to our nature, connection with oneself and the environment, learning to dance with and through life, building skills and living with the rhythms and cycles of seasons and play and joy. How you keep all this information in your head, I don't know. But good luck. On you go.
Well, there's a number of questions that come up immediately. One, the nature-based camps, is that Melissa's business? Or is this someplace she's working? I don't know. But generally, that's two different businesses.
Yeah, it sounds like it. She led
Yeah,
with teaching the free form dance classes and then additionally living on a homestead um,
yeah,
with
yeah,
camps.
yeah. Those feel very different. Just from the standpoint of being somebody who might want to spend money, potential client. If I were to hear those things, they just land in two different buckets. But the kind of people who'd be drawn to freeform dance are absolutely not necessarily people who want to send their kids to nature-based camps or go to nature-based camps, and vice versa. Of
Hmm.
course, sometimes what people can do is they can say, well, I'm going to combine them, so it's going to be nature-based camps where we do freeform dance, and that's great. People may do that, and it's like, oh, finally, somebody's combined these two things. My question would be, are there enough people to sustain that from Melissa locally? Uh, could she build this online and get enough people globally? They would come to these events. No, um, but I would generally suggest that's two different things, and they could be on the same website. It could be, melissa.com. And when you go there, it's just, hey, my name's Melissa. I'm really passionate about nature, play, joy, returning, that feeling of returning home. I have two main offerings. I do one is dance, one is nature-based camps. And click on this or click on that to learn more about those things. That's fine. I mean, and it's good to remember that we will be remembered for one thing. And so then if Melissa's wanting to market both of these, let's say on the same social media channel, of course it's possible, but then you're going to really want to focus on the that theme of returning home and nature and play and joy. That's the stuff to be posting about. And then, there's the occasional shout out to an event that you're doing, but the content is not, um, if it was just freeform dance, then it would probably be lots of posts about dance specifically. If it was nature-based camps, it would be just photos of cute kids playing in nature, and it would be, little essays. Here's something that happened, funny that happened the other day, at the camp, and it would have that. Versus if you're going to do both, I think there's a need to really step back and say, okay, yeah, what do they have in common? And you're talking more broadly, and of course, peppering it with both. And still, then you could do that for a few years, and you're at a party, and somebody says, "Oh, what does Melissa do?" And the person replies, "Oh, she." They're gonna, there's gonna be a memory for something, and it might be confusing. It might be too confusing. Um, and there's nothing wrong with having two different businesses. Where I've got one website for one business, one website for the other business. They both work really well. There's two different email lists. That's a big consideration. If I was, if I had kids and I wanted to send them to a nature-based camp, I don't want to get emails about dance, freeform dance stuff. I'm not interested, and vice versa. So then, in that, in that way, my inclination would be that's two different websites, that's two different email lists. Build them up independently, separately, and on your personal social media, talk about those deeper whys and the point of view stuff. But
Mm.
If you want that project to succeed, I'd probably have its own social media, additionally for each. Now the freeform dance, I don't know, I would hazard a guess that that's just Melissa teaching it, whereas the nature-based camps, there may be more people involved. And there's a chance that that can continue without Melissa, versus maybe the freeform dance, there's less chance of that. So then I'd be thinking a lot more about business systems, because, okay, maybe I want these nature-based camps to continue after I stop. I want to make sure they, even if I'm not leading them, or I don't want to be as involved in the admin. And so it just, that one in particular has me think of it more as a business independent of Melissa, whereas the freeform dance, my guess is that is Melissa, and if Melissa's gone, there's no, there's not a cadre of teachers. That
And
would
just
be,
to be clear, you're kind of like, as you describe it, what I'm thinking is that you bring in the business systems so that they can invest more time in the one that involves them specifically, like this freeform dance classes, which is what they start with, and create and host this other business for the nature-based camps, but structure things so that they don't have to be involved in all the minutiae, all the mechanical bits and bobs, all the procedural stuff, so they can still take joy from both of them. Is that what
yeah,
you're well?
exactly. One of my favorite exercises to do with people, well, I don't do it a lot, but as your business gets to a certain level and you have employees, now there's a chance to set down certain tasks, pick up other ones. And it's a great exercise where you take a piece of paper, you draw a line down the middle, in the top left-hand side, you write roles I want to play, top right-hand side, roles I don't want to play. And it's very helpful because for some people, the role they want to play is more administrative. I don't, oh man, I don't want to be doing, like, I know these camps are important for the kids, and I find it actually really exhausting. I just want them to happen. I just started doing it because I saw there was a need in the community, but I get too tired from these kids, so I'd rather just do the marketing, the administration. I'd like to show up and tell stories from time to time. I'd like to play the games, but not, whatever it is. So, yeah, what's the role that you want to play in these nature-based camps? And what's the role you're no longer wanting to play? So, because there are other people who want to play those roles, it's very easy to think, oh, well, everybody would want to be on stage in front of people if you're that kind of person, but not everybody does. It's easy to think, oh, everybody loves spreadsheets if you're that kind of person, but not everybody does. Um, so luckily, there are other people who do, but people will stop and say, well, I shouldn't offload all that demeaning work onto somebody. Well, I get to be with the kids. All this office admin, people can get really messed up. It's like, but no, that's your internal hierarchy. That's not the real hierarchy in the world, that one work is more worthy than the other. That's just how you've internalized it. But actually, some people would be thrilled for an administrative job, or of course, thrilled to work with the kids all the time, and this would be their dream life. So then we find people who are a good fit for each of those roles. Everybody's happy.
And it reminds me of a great deal of the sustainability piece of your business model.
Right.
Like, is this something you can keep on doing? You can perhaps get what you really want from both worlds? How would you do it sustainably? Are there any resources available, say on your YouTube channel or something for that particular piece?
Uh, no, in the membership, I think there's a thread about something like this, but I don't think there is on YouTube. Generally, though, the business model thread probably has some thoughts on this.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And if Melissa wanted to give it a go, just trying to find out if both of these worlds, if there were enough people in both of these worlds to bridge them,
Hmm.
to give that a go first, do a bit of testing out. What kind of resources would you recommend for
Yeah.
testing?
Well, a lot of this, there's a sort of a gut sense of having been in the scene long enough. But sometimes you can just put it out on Facebook, say, hey, I'm thinking about this. Please, who's interested, and tag folks you think you might be. And if there's just no response and you post it a few times, that can be a sign. But another good sign is to just, what are there hubs? How many hubs are there for these types of people? Because if you can't find any hubs, maybe you're the first, and that's great, but there may also be a reason there aren't many hubs. So it's good to ask around and just say, where do these people hang out? And if you find there's tons of places to hang out, that's a great sign. And if you can't find anywhere they hang out, it's a it's a red flag at least. It doesn't mean stop. It might mean, oh, you're the first one, and you're going to benefit, from doing the work of creating the hub for all these people to gather in. But it's worth thinking about. So that's specifically what I would do. And you can also just ask your community, do you think there's enough people to sustain this? You can also look at other people, your sort of competition. How are they doing? The people who are doing similar things to this, how's business for them? You can start to ask around and get a cumulative sense of, oh boy, everybody's struggling or everybody's classes are full. For example, my guess is if the freeform dance thing, most of the teachers would be struggling, if I had to hazard a guess. The nature-based camps, there's a really good chance those are full. I mean, I remember this was more during lockdowns, but I remember this woman I met, and she had a nature-based camp that was completely sold out with parents begging to get their kids in. So that's a whole different situation. And then you got to look around like, well, yeah, I mean, because if all of the nature-based camps are oversubscribed, if they're all turning people away, fantastic. But if they're all struggling and they can't get enough, that's a sign. One of the things you can do is, yeah, you just call them up, just email these colleagues, and it could be in your area, but also you could go out of state, out of province, and just out of country. You can ask around. But certainly, I just start with people in your community. Like, how's it going? How's business? Is this working out? Do you have a wait list? And then if you get enough of them, now you might look at their marketing and say, God, they all have shitty marketing. No wonder they're struggling. But if all of them are struggling, that's just, maybe that's a sign that there's not that much interest. That doesn't mean you can't drum up the interest or create the interest, but then at least that's what you're aiming at, rather than you're just going to hang out your shingle and it'll be full.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Melissa. I hope it helps you. There's plenty in there.